On Monday, Israeli F-35 fighter jets launched a series of missiles at the Iranian consulate in Damascus, Syria. This consulate was located right next to the Canadian embassy, resulting in the deaths of at least 13 people, including a top commander of the IRGC's Quds force and his deputy. Israel's actions have been widely condemned as a violation of international law, as attacks on diplomatic premises and personnel are strictly prohibited under the United Nations Charter. Iran has rightfully stated that this airstrike represents a flagrant violation of the inviolability of diplomatic and consular premises. The question remains, why did Israel choose to carry out this attack despite the potential for significant escalation? One possible explanation is that Israel sought to send a clear message to Iran, demonstrating its willingness to take decisive action against Iranian interests, even in the context of the ongoing conflict in Gaza. By targeting a high-profile IRGC commander, Israel may have been attempting to disrupt Iran's regional influence and capabilities. However, this move by Israel has put Iran in a difficult position. If Iran does not respond, it may be perceived as weak and lose credibility in the eyes of its allies and the broader international community. Conversely, if Iran retaliates, it risks further escalating the conflict and potentially triggering a larger regional war. To fully understand the implications of this incident, it is crucial to examine the broader context of the Middle East conflict. The region is a tapestry of overlapping and interconnected conflicts, with various actors vying for influence and control. In Syria, the ongoing civil war has pitted the government of President Bashar al-Assad against rebel factions, with Russia and Iran supporting the Assad regime, while the United States and its allies have sought to effect regime change. This conflict has drawn in other regional powers, such as Turkey, which has its own interests in the region. Elsewhere, the conflict between Armenia and Azerbaijan over the Nagorno-Karabakh region has further complicated the regional dynamics, with Iran and India supporting Armenia, while Turkey backs Azerbaijan. This proxy war has the potential to draw in other regional players, such as Russia and Israel, who have their own strategic interests in the region. The conflict in Yemen, where the Iran-backed Houthi rebels have been fighting a Saudi-led coalition, is another flashpoint that has the potential to escalate tensions. India, which has a significant presence in the Western Indian Ocean region, has been involved in freedom of navigation operations, potentially putting it at odds with the Houthi forces. These conflicts, along with the ongoing tensions between Israel and the Palestinians, have created a complex web of alliances and rivalries that make the Middle East a highly volatile region. The potential for these conflicts to spill over and trigger a larger regional war is ever present, and the recent Israeli airstrike on the Iranian consulate in Damascus has the potential to further exacerbate these tensions. It is worth noting that the flight path of the Israeli F-35 fighter jets that carried out the airstrike on the Iranian consulate in Damascus was quite intriguing. Instead of taking a direct route to their target, the F-35s first flew eastwards over Jordan and only crossed into Syrian airspace near the Iraq-Syria border. They then proceeded westwards towards Damascus. This circuitous route suggests that the Israelis were attempting to avoid the S-300 and S-400 missile defense systems that Russia has deployed in various parts of Syria. These advanced air defense systems pose a significant threat to Israeli aircraft, and the F-35Es, despite their claimed stealth capabilities, may not have been willing to risk a direct confrontation with these Russian-made systems. The fact that the Israelis took such precautions in their approach to the target raises questions about the true capabilities of the F-35 when faced with modern air defense systems. It also highlights the complex geopolitical landscape in the region, where the presence of Russian military assets can significantly constrain the operations of other regional powers, such as Israel. If you watch all the way till here, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content. Iran has vowed to avenge the attack on its consulate in Damascus, and it is essential to consider the possible retaliatory measures the country may take. Given Iran's substantial missile and drone capabilities, one potential scenario is that Iran could launch a swarm of drones and cruise missiles against strategic targets within Israel. Such a response would represent a significant escalation of the conflict, as it would mark the first direct confrontation between Israel and Iran, moving the tensions beyond the confines of the ongoing Gaza conflict. If Iran were to carry out such an attack, it would likely provoke a strong Israeli response, potentially leading to a broader regional war. Furthermore, Iran could choose to activate its various proxy forces in the region, such as Hezbollah in Lebanon, the Houthi rebels in Yemen, and the Shia militias in Iraq. By doing so, Iran could put pressure on Israel and its allies, potentially opening up multiple fronts in the conflict. The activation of these proxy forces could also have wider implications, potentially drawing in other regional players. For instance, the involvement of the Houthi rebels in Yemen could impact India's freedom of navigation operations in the Western Indian Ocean region. Similarly, the situation in Iraq could become more volatile, as the presence of U.S. troops in the country could be threatened by the actions of Iran-backed militias. The Israeli airstrike on the Iranian consulate in Damascus has been met with widespread condemnation from the international community. The United States, while not explicitly supporting the attack, has stated that it does not support attacks on diplomatic facilities, which could be interpreted as an implicit rebuke of Israel's actions. Other nations in the region, such as Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, Russia, China, Iraq, Jordan, Oman, and Qatar have all condemned the Israeli attack, demonstrating the broad-based opposition to this violation of international law. This condemnation is significant because it highlights the potential for the conflict to further escalate and draw in other regional powers. If Iran retaliates and Israel responds in kind, the situation could spiral out of control, potentially leading to a broader regional war that could have far-reaching consequences for the global economy and security. It is worth noting that the war in Gaza has been ongoing since October 7th, when Hamas crossed the border and attacked Israel. Interestingly, Iran has so far avoided being directly involved in this conflict, despite its alleged support for Hamas and other Palestinian factions. However, the Israeli airstrike on the Iranian consulate in Damascus represents a direct confrontation between Israel and Iran, and it is likely that Iran will feel compelled to respond in some way to maintain its credibility and influence in the region. This could potentially draw Iran into the conflict in Gaza, further complicating the situation and increasing the risk of a wider regional war. The recent Israeli airstrike on the Iranian consulate in Damascus has the potential to spark a significant escalation of the ongoing conflicts in the Middle East. The complex web of regional alliances and proxy wars has created a highly volatile environment where a single incident can trigger a broader conflagration. As Iran ponders its response, the risk of a direct confrontation between Israel and Iran looms large. The potential for retaliatory measures, such as a missile or drone attack on Israeli targets, or the activation of Iran's regional proxies, could set off a chain reaction that could engulf the entire region. The international community must act swiftly to de-escalate the situation and prevent a wider war from breaking out. Diplomatic efforts, supported by the global community, will be crucial in finding a peaceful resolution to this crisis and addressing the underlying tensions that have plagued the Middle East for decades. The stakes are high, and the consequences of a further escalation could be devastating, not just for the region, but for the global geopolitical landscape as well. And prioritize the pursuit of a peaceful solution, lest the Middle East be plunged into an even deeper cycle of conflict and instability. If you watched all the way till here, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content.